That's journalist Patrick Falk in Singapore. We want to dig a little deeper into this conflict. Joining me now is Sophal. He is an associate professor at Arizona State University with the Thunderbird School of Global Management. Professor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Sophal, I want to ask you, the U.S. President Donald Trump has said that the leaders of Cambodia and Thailand have agreed to meet immediately to talk about a ceasefire. What do you hope will come out of this?
Well, I hope that both parties will cease the fighting as soon as possible. There is a lot of leverage in the sense of economic leverage from President Trump. Both countries are currently negotiating tariffs with the United States, and I think both are currently at 36%, while Vietnam is already at 20%. And so any increase from there will be a disadvantage economically, will potentially really damage the economies of either country. So hoping that it'll come to a peaceful resolution as a result of this incentive.
Yeah, that the pressure of U.S. tariffs certainly something that's weighing on the minds of people pretty much throughout the world. Talk to me, break down for our viewers a little bit about what this conflict is about, which has been ongoing for decades, but has, of course, escalated in recent weeks.
Well, you know, I think that the remarkable thing about this conflict is that it comes from two titan families of their respective countries, both of whom have had their child or children be prime minister succeeding them. So in the case of Cambodia, Hun Sen and his son Hun Manet. In the case of Thailand, Thaksin Shinawatra and two of his daughters have been prime ministers. And so the craziness of it all is that they are actually close friends for 30 years until recently. So in May, when that Cambodian soldier was killed, things seemed to deteriorate quickly from there. But I think that the friendship may have appeared on the surface to be very strong, but obviously there were simmering tensions. And as a result, the countries are now suffering. The people are suffering because of the actions of these leaders.
And of course, history teaches us that sometimes those broken friendships, especially between very powerful families, result in very bloody battles for people under them. Both sides of this dispute have said they're acting in self-defense, calling on the other to cease fighting. I mean, how does a conflict like this find a resolution?
Well, everybody has to step back from the brink, right? We've got into a situation where the face-saving aspect of it, or the inability to step back, led us to this point. Hopefully, cooler heads prevail, and both countries will realize that there is no benefit from continuing this conflict, from expanding this conflict. But at this point, they seem to be stuck between a rock and a hard place, where each side wants to show the other the price of their actions and punishing the other side, showing how strong it is based on, you know, what the people, patriotism and rallying around the flag seems to have caused, which is the idea that if we back down, we look weak. We can't allow that. We have to teach them a lesson.
We know that Thailand's Prime Minister Shinawatra, who you just mentioned, was suspended from duty over a leaked phone call with Cambodia's former leader. What do you make of this? Can you tell us a little bit about the content of that leaked phone call, and how does this affect the current leadership of Thailand?
Right. Well, that was a shocking turn of events. So about 2 weeks after the Cambodian soldier died in some gunfire, she apparently attempted to call former Prime Minister Hun Sen, who's now the president of the Senate, of the Cambodian Senate, and couldn't reach him. Then he called her personal cell phone and reached her with a translator. He then recorded the call without her knowledge, in which she called him uncle, because the families have been friends for so long. Her father is literally god brother of Hun Sen. And by leaking this call, in which she disparages certain parties, including generals that aren't maybe in agreement with her view of things, which would be much more placating towards Hun Sen, it became a flashpoint. He, of course, Hun Sen was trying, I think, to show that he's not that close to the Shinawatra family, in that he released the phone call. Look, you know, I'm willing to stab them in the back. of course, what that led to was no more discussions, no more phone calls, and no more being caught in any situation where you can be compromised in this way.
Professor Ear, I have to ask you also about the bigger powers here. Obviously, this is a regional conflict between two countries with very long and proud histories, but it does also represent a critical test of power of superpowers in this region, notably American and Chinese influence in Southeast Asia. Can you explain this?
Well, Cambodia has long, at least in the last decade, been a client of China, very dependent on Chinese foreign investment, on the Belt and Road Initiative, on military cooperation, and turning away from the United States at the same time. Thailand is a treaty ally of the United States. It is seen as far closer to the United States, but it's still also growing and balancing in the sense of being friends with China, doing a lot of trade with China, and I'm sure taking a lot of investment from China. But it's certainly closer to the United States than Cambodia has been historically, while Cambodia is closer to China. And so it is kind of a proxy, not warfare situation, but hopefully it won't turn into that situation where during the Cold War, many countries were at war with each other while the superpowers were not at war with each other.
What has China said so far? We know that U.S. certainly, Donald Trump has expressed interest in a ceasefire. Any indication of where China stands?
Well, China doesn't want a conflict in its backyard. Southeast Asia, if one thinks about it as the kind of Monroe Doctrine for the United States, where Latin America is its backyard, China sees Southeast Asia as its backyard, and to see conflict happening there is not to China's benefit at all. It has proposed to mediate, it has proposed to be helpful, but it takes two, and in this case, three to tango, in the sense that both Cambodia and Thailand need to agree to China intermediating on their behalf. And so far, that hasn't resulted in the outcome desired, which is peace.
Professor Ear, thank you so much for your time and expertise. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That was Sophal Ear, Associate Professor at Arizona State University with the Thunderbird School of Global Management.